tuning in during the live session. If you are checking out the recording, let me know down below. Recording. But if you're here now, just let me know where you're listening from. Absolutely want to hear from you. So today we have a very spicy topic. Today we have something that several of you have asked about, because we hear this all of the time. We hear EXP, we hear EXP Realty, but we hear a ton about EXP Revenue Share. So revenue share, rev share, there's a lot of talk about that. So when there's a lot of commotion, when there's a lot of activity around a subject, you typically have people that are well informed. Sometimes they're few far in between, but then you also have those people that are trying to recite something that they don't have a full grasp on. So not trying to cast stones, if you will, but it just happens to be the case in any industry. So today I wanted to share with you the exact breakdown of what revenue share looks like. So revenue share, what we're talking about here is something that EXP Realty agents have access to. So this is actually the biggest driver, the biggest reason that EXP Realty agents have become a living meme. The living meme of, hey, have you heard about EXP Realty? Join me. You hear that all of the time. If you've been on Facebook at any time, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, anywhere and everywhere, you have so many people pitching you that, hey, join EXP Realty because it's the next best thing since sliced bread. Today, I'm not going to give you my opinion on what I perceive to be EXP in the sense of, is it the next best thing since sliced bread? Yes or no? That's not necessarily what this video is about. What this video is about is presenting to you what revenue share looks like. Am I part of EXP Realty? Yes. It's very evident. So as you can kind of see back there as well. But more importantly, what I want to share with you is EXP Realty from the revenue share perspective. We're not talking about commissions. We're not talking about the split, which is 80-20, by the way. We're not talking about the fees, which is $85 a month, by the way. We're not talking about equity or the shares that you get whenever you are part of EXP and are productive within EXP. So there's 5 ways to earn shares in stock, but we're not going to cover that. That's probably going to be, actually, I've already covered some of that already, so we're not going to necessarily cover that in this video. The only thing we're sharing today is revenue share and what it actually looks like. So with that being said, we're going to get started. As you're coming in, a huge like is going to go a long way. And then also, if you're watching this at the recording level, then just let me know recording or what you think. Just give me some idea, give me some perspective. So let's get going. We're not going to spend too much time in the introductions because it's not needed. Let's get right into it. So revenue share. Revenue share, what is it? EXP Realty agents can receive revenue share income from the sales activity of the productive agents they sponsor into the company. So what does this mean? This means that any agents that you sponsor into the company, so as they join EXP and they fill out their application, they are prompted to select a sponsor. They're prompted to say who was to share, for you to share who was the most instrumental person in you joining EXP Realty. So that's where you select a sponsor. That's any agent that's coming in, they have the ability to select a sponsor. So that's what they're talking about. Now, if you join EXP Realty and you start making sales, aka production, then folks, the person that sponsored you and several more agents, and you'll see the breakdown here, they receive some sort of income. They receive some sort of revenue share. They receive sales, basically. So they receive what some people would categorize as an override. Now, let's continue going. Agents earn based on adjusted gross commission income from the sales transactions closed by a personally sponsored capping agent and productive agents in their overall group. So what this basically says is the same thing that I just shared with you. Agents that you sponsor, anything that they do, you receive some income. You receive revenue share. So revenue, as we know in business class, is off the top, not profit sharing. There's another brokerage out there with that has 2 initials that does profit sharing. So that means off the bottom, after all the expenses, after everything has been taken into account, there's some profit sharing. So that's the difference. So this EXP model gets compared to that other brokerage out there that has a profit sharing system, not a revenue sharing system. So they are doing the profit, they're doing the sharing from the bottom after all the expensive. EXP Realty operates off the top, so the revenue share. So from the top, as soon as the gross commission income, as you can see. And then AGCI, as a reminder, adjusted gross income, is dynamically calculated each month, so EXP Realty pays out and retains 50% of company dollar. What in the heck does that mean? Well, EXP, as a quick reminder, has an 80-20 split. 80% for the agent, 20% for the brokerage. It's from that 20% that this entire revenue share program that you're about to see to the very, down to the last penny, that's where this operates from the 20%. So again, the split at EXPs, whenever you make a sale, 80% goes to the agent, 20% goes to the company, the brokerage, EXP Realty. It's from that half of that, so if we divide 20 by 2, 10% of that is where this revenue share is operated from. So whenever people start talking about revenue share, and I've seen some folks that talk about it at length, they do not make that distinction. It's not from the 80% that this revenue share program is operated from. It's from the brokerage side. So something that any real estate agent that joins, they wouldn't even see that to begin with. So this is something that is completely different than what you're going to have in other brokerages. So again, I don't want to name any others by name, but with these other brokerages, you have a 80-20 split already. You have a 60-40 split already. The biggest difference is that you, as a real estate agent, you do not get to participate from the company side. So all this talk about EXP Realty being an MLM, and I heard it, I stayed away for a little while. Actually a considerable amount of while, which in hindsight, it cost me a lot of money. That's another story for another day. But when it comes to the company side, the biggest difference at EXP is that you as a real estate agent can actually participate on that from day one. You didn't have to go out and buy a brokerage. You didn't have to do the risk that you didn't have to create the risk on yourself by becoming a broker. You didn't have to purchase a franchise. You didn't have to do any of that. So the way that I like to explain it is for the $85 a month, you get to be your own business. In addition to what you're already doing as helping buyers buy and helping sellers sell. So I'm getting way too off tangent. So let's continue going on the revenue share. So this is what the revenue share program is. So what's important here to understand is that it's from the 20% that goes to the brokerage, right? So it's not from the 80%. All right, so let's go. Okay, now once you understand that, hey, that's where the revenue share program comes from, you most likely have already seen this chart. We're not going to spend too much time in this chart. We're actually going to revisit it in different slides, but I want to show you because this is something that you most likely see a lot. You see it because somebody gave you the presentation, somebody shared with you numbers, sent you a video, or logged on to Zoom and shared it with you. Whatever it happens to be, however you saw this, chances are that you've seen this. So we're going to go from a brief, super 10-second overview of what this looks like. Tiers. What does this mean? Tiers means that the revenue share operates off of 7 levels, 7 tiers. So this means that if you sponsor an agent, that means they are tier 1. That means they're your frontline. That means they're your personal. These are all words that you're going to hear out there in the wild interchangeably. My frontline, my my level 1, my tier 1, my personals. So this is what that means. So you sponsor an agent directly as tier 1, and then any agent that you sponsor, they go out and sponsor another one. So that person that they sponsor is tier 2. And you'll see what that looks like here. I have awesome breakdown of what that looks like. And this goes 7 levels. So you can see how this has a very exponential growth factor, if you will, especially if you have an agent that heavily focuses on the revenue share aspect. So again, we're not talking about commission. We're not talking about equity. That's completely different. We're talking about revenue share. This is another huge revenue generator if you make it. I'm not going to make financial claims. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just giving you as it reads. So this is what this is meant by tiers. Now, expansion share or exponential share, it's either or, it's not and. Let me repeat that. Expansion share and exponential share is either or, it's not and. So the percentages that you see here, it's either you're in the expansion share or you're in the exponential share. For all of the agents that are on your level 2, your tier 2, the agents that your personal line sponsored, and you'll see that breakdown. So this is how you read it appropriately. And I have some other graphics that are going to help you visualize it a little bit different to where it's going to say, oh, you're going to be able to say that, yeah, it makes sense now. So again, it's either or, expansion or exponential. And then the frontline qualifying agent count. I'll forgo this for a few seconds because I think that we at this point need to get into some definitions. But understand that these numbers are important and actually dictate if you are going to be receiving revenue share from this column for all of your agents in a particular level or a particular tier, or receive this. Because as you can see here, the difference between 3.5% and 0.2% is quite large when you think about it. And this frontline qualifying agent count dictates that. This is what's going to dictate which column you're in. If you're in the expansion share or if you're in the exponential share in the tier that's appropriate. So let's continue going. I'll break it down completely, but let's go into the definitions. So again, we're talking about EXP Realty Revenue Share. As you're coming in, a like is going to go a long way. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them down below. I know this can get a little bit complex. I've done as much prep work as you're going to see me do on lives to give you the facts, to give you as it is. And feel free to share this with anybody and everybody, because everybody claims that they're an expert until they have to explain it to you. So here's what's happening. AGCI, Adjusted Gross Commission Income. So that is something that you're going to see up here, which is basically, this is exponential share of AGCI. So the gross commission income. That's what it means. Now, FLQA, frontline qualifying agent. So if we go back for a second, you see the column that says frontline qualifying agent count. So frontline qualifying agent, what does that mean? That means that to be considered a frontline qualifying agent, you need to have 2 full transactions or $5,000 gross commission income, GCI, in a rolling 6-month period. So you either need to do this, which most transactions, let's be real, most transactions, you're receiving this anyway. So it's either you receive $5K or you do 2 full transactions in a rolling 6 month. That is what if you achieve those milestones or those metrics, you as an agent, you are considered a frontline qualifying agent count or a qualifying agent. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a couple of seconds. So this is for the difference between frontline qualifying and frontline agent is this. The qualifying agent has some production. To be considered a frontline agent, you just need to be breathing. I'm just shooting it to you straight. To be considered a frontline agent, you just need to be breathing, have an active license at EXP. That's what a frontline agent is. So don't let this confuse you. Frontline qualifying agent, there's some production here, or frontline agents, you just need to be breathing. That's basically it. So those are the 2 differences. So as you can see, you can attract 10 agents, you can sponsor 10 agents that are breathing, and we understand that real estate sales is complex sometimes. So of those 10, maybe 5 of those are producers for you. 5 actually produce something. 5 actually sell a property that will either meet the $5,000 or does 2 full transactions. So what you're going to see within your revenue share organization, if you decide to join EXP, you're going to see that you're going to have a lot more frontline agents than frontline qualifying agents. So this number is always going to be larger. The frontline agent is always going to be larger. There's no way that this can be larger than the frontline qualifying agents, because this is basically the entirety. This is a subset of the entirety, because we know that all the agents that join EXP or any brokerage, not just the EXP thing, any brokerage, not everyone's going to sell. And it's just a fact, right? And you have the expansion share and exponential share. So show you again, expansion share and exponential share. So just think of these as words or titles, because that's what these are. There's no real explanation behind it outside of the difference between expansion share is this percentage and this exponential share is this percentage. That's the difference there. All right, so let me know if these definitions are making sense. We can, of course, drill down a little bit further, but we're going to go into some examples. That's where we really land this. So I'm going to give you some examples, and we're going to keep the same example all the way through so you have a full understanding. So Jaime, I sponsor, AKA, these are going to be all my level ones. These are all going to be my frontline. These are all going to be my tier ones. These are all going to be my personals. These are all going to be agents that I sponsor directly. So notice that I gave you 5 different ways that people say it. So you always have that same lingo in the back of your mind. So this is going to be my level 1. Let's say I personally sponsor Betty, Lauren, D, Tony, Tyler, Franco. So these are all people that I sponsor on my level 1, tier 1. So let's go back and see what that means. These are all agents that I sponsor directly. These are all my tier 1. These are all direct, right? So they're all on my tier 1. And this means that since this is basically an NA, a void, it does not exist, you're automatically enrolled, or your agents are automatically enrolled into 3.5% percentage for you. So all of the agents, based off of their production, I am receiving 3.5% off of their sales. So again, this is all just tier 1. They're all on my front line. They're all my level 1. So I personally sponsor them. That's my tier 1, right? So don't worry about this right now. This will come into play in a little bit. I just want you to understand this part. All right, so Betty, Lauren, D, Tony, Tyler, Franco. They're all on my level 1. So you see that 3.5%. That's where I got it from right here. And then any production that they do, that's Jaime's revenue share. It's that simple. And something important to mention about the revenue share, something that you saw in the explanation, is that the production that's done this month gets paid to you on the 21st of the following month. That is a big difference than other systems out there that operate from profit that are not paying out that frequently. So I could tell you, I can show you the math because I'm showing it to you right here of how much you can expect next month on the 21st. That's not something you're going to be able to do elsewhere. So of these profit sharing systems, that doesn't exist. There's no formula. There's no formula over there. So just giving you the facts. All right, so let's go into an example. Let's say Betty sells a $500,000 home. Fantastic job, Betty. So again, we're not talking about the commission part. Betty, she would receive her 80%. So what we're talking about, that's her commission, if you will. So what we're talking about is a revenue share. This is the only thing that we're talking about here. So for me, off of Betty's production, that's $500,000, assuming a 3% commission. That's a $15,000 commission. For me, as sponsoring Betty into the organization, I received $420 off of that production. So again, this $420 did not come out of Betty's pocket. This came out from the company side. So this is something that we really need to hammer down and really explain, because this is not something that is coming from the agent side. So as you know, with any brokers that you're with, pick any of them. Pick any of them. You know your split. You know the split of your friends. You know all that. So there's 60-40 out there. There's 50-50 out there, I've come to find out. There's 70-30. There's 80-20, and there's 90-10. I'm just being completely candid with you. So I know that there's 90-10 out there, but most of the time 90-10s never have a cap on them. At EXP, it's a $16,000 cap. So that's $2.66 million in sales volume. But again, that's about commission. So when it comes to comparing this to other brokerages, there's really no comparison, because if you have a 70-30 split, even the agents that you have with you, they have the same thing, but the difference is that you don't get to participate from what goes to the brokerage. That's a big difference. So as Betty made that first sale, $500,000, and it's a 3% commission for her. Good job, Betty. Congratulations on that commission. So she would receive her $15,000 minus the fees that come with that. So she would receive 80% of the $15,000 minus $65, which is $25 for the broker review and $40 for the errors and omissions. Errors and omissions caps at $500. So again, this is all information that is important to you, and I'm dropping this because there's a lot of information out there that's not right. So I'm just giving you all these numbers because who you partner with matters. Who you partner with needs to understand the exact model, because you don't want to be told something that is not right. Come to find out 2 months later, oh crap, you didn't tell me about this. So that's something I hear about a lot. It's something I hear like, hey, can I change sponsors? Well, no, you can't. When you're part of EXP already, I can't do anything for you. And I get messages like this weekly. So who you partner with matters. Anyway, let's continue going. So this is the example of Betty, my front line, my tier 1, my personal person selling a transaction. So going back to the example, all of the any production, if Lauren had done the same thing, TD had done the same thing, Franco had done the same thing, they're all on my level 1. So any volume that they sell, I'm just going to multiply 0.035, which is 3.5%. Alrighty, so now let's get into a little bit more complex stuff. Let's bring in some 6 FLQAs. So I'm going to give you the example of all of the agents. Let's just say every single one of these agents, Betty, Lauren D, Tony, Tyler, Franco, they all became frontline qualifying agents. They all sold either 2 full transactions or $5,000 in GCI gross commission income in the rolling 6 months prior. So they all went out in our producer. So awesome. Congratulations, Betty, Lauren D, Tony, Tyler, Franco. You're all producing enough to be a frontline qualifying agent. So remember, back to our definitions. So now, since we have 6 FLQAs, that's Betty, Lauren D, Tony, Tyler, and Franco. These are all 6 frontline qualifying agents. One second. These are all frontline qualifying agents. That's where we get the 6 from. Then now I want to show you the power of what happens down here. The title, the tier 2, the level 2. Let's just say Betty has a friend, an agent friend that joins her. So for Betty, agent's friend is her level 1, because that would be her personal. But for me, Betty's friend, Betty's agent, that's level 2 for Jaime. That's level 2 for me. Wow. I shouldn't be. I don't like speaking in third person, I guess. Anyway, Tyler, and then he does the same thing. He has a friend, an agent friend that joins. And for Tyler, that's level 1. But for me, that's level 2. So Tyler and Betty are here for me. And then any agents that they sponsor, they're tier 2. So this is what happens. It's either this or this. It's either expansion share or exponential share. We mentioned that at the very beginning. So now we're going to introduce the frontline qualifying count, the frontline agent count, frontline qualifying agent count. There we go. Notice that I said that there's 6 right here. This means that I met the 5 minimum required. So here's where this number dictates where you're going to land. Since I have 6 frontline qualifying agents, this means that I have the minimum needed here, which is 5. If I had 5, the example would be the exact same. But I did meet the minimum, and I have 6 frontline qualifying agents, which they're right here. Betty, Lauren, D, Tony, Tyler, Franco, right? Now, what that entails is on my second level, on my tier 2, I receive 3.5% off of all of my tier 2. So that means that Betty's friend and Tyler's friend, off of their production, I receive 3.8% as opposed to this. See the difference? So let me know if this is making sense. We can break it down further if we need it. So now, here we go. This means that you're not going to be able to see it too well, but pretend that you can see it. So you're going to have, let's wait for this to go away. All right, so 3.5%, and sorry, my face is kind of covering it, but 3.5% is my level 1 Let me move myself. I think it's important enough here. Level 1 is 3.5% times the production. And then level 2, if I can stop getting that little thing, there you go. Level 2 is 3.8% times the production. So that's going to be my revenue share. So any sales on level 1, so all of my personal ones, Betty, Lauren D, Tyler, I'm going to receive 3.5% no matter what. But now, since there's 6 FLQAs, off of any production from Betty's friend or Tyler's friend, I receive 3.8%. So that's what FLQAs means. So now let's put it into numbers. So remember, this. Now, if Betty's friend, way to go Betty's friend, they sell a home for $500,000, Betty, she would receive the $420 that I would have received if I had sponsored Betty's friend personally. So remember, that's the exact same number that Betty sold because Betty was my level 1. So now that Betty's friend is on board, any sell that they make for Betty, that's her level 1. So for me, Betty's friend's activity, her production, which is my level 2, I receive 3.8%, which is $570. Is this making sense? I want to make sure that everybody is understanding this. So that's the difference. So from that production, Betty received 420, and then I received 570 because of how the numbers played out. All right, so let's see, where are we? Right here. So that's where the 3.8% came from, and very much the same thing. But I want to show you the difference on the other side. Let's say that this time it's 2 FLQAs. So going up here, remember, we were up here. I gave you the example of 6 FLQAs, and now it's 2 FLQAs. So now, if it's 2 FLQAs, go back here. Let's just say Betty and Tyler, or doesn't even matter who it is. Let's say Lauren and D, they were my only 2 FLQAs. They either sold 2 transactions or had a $5,000 GCI, gross commission, in the trailing 6 months. So they were my only 2 agents that produced. And then the others did not. So it doesn't matter that Betty's friend is the one in this example that you're about to see is the one that had the sale. Does not matter. Let's just say Lauren and D were my only FLQAs. Well, since I did not meet the 5 agent minimum required here, since I did not do that, what happens now is that I'm on the expansion share for my tier 2, my level 2. So that's 0.2%. So all of my level, again, tier 1 is not going to be touched, but tier 2, since I do not have the minimum 5, where I had 6 in my previous example, and I only have 2 now, so this did not meet the minimum here, I'm over on the expansion share for all of my tier 2. So I hope that this is making sense. All right. Raul, your cam view is blocking the bottom left of the slide. Yeah. Thank you. Actually, I'm blocking that. So let me move that for a second. Alrighty. So what's happening here is, I'll recap that. So thank you, by the way. What's happening here is, since I do not meet the 5 required here, then it's 0.2% off of them. So now, if we go over here and we go back to the same example, but this time with 2 FLQAs, 2 frontline qualifying agents. Remember, Lauren and D were my only 2. If Betty's friend does the same sell, Betty's revenue share does not change because that's her level 1. Again, level 1 is quote unquote guaranteed. It's locked in. But for me, I'm going to receive this as opposed to this because I did not meet the 5 agent required. So now what happens is, you see that at the bottom left, I hesitate to move the mouse so much because at the very bottom left, you see level 2 and 0.2%. Well, now what that equates to is, and I'll move myself. Man, there's no good spot to move this to. Then I'll move let's move it up here. Then if you see down here, it's $30. So that's the difference. We went from what, $570 to $30. You see the difference is vast. So that's why when you have all of these agents recruiting you, that's why you see a lot of them be so aggressive, pushy, salesy, non-ethical at times. I'll just shooting it like it is. And that's why they're just so trying to bring you in, if you will, because they know that if they have a ton of agents that start stacking up on level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6, all the way to 7, well, in order for them to unlock the exponential share, they personally, they being the agents that are emailing you, cold calling you, DMing you on LinkedIn, doing all this stuff, they're personally trying to hit these numbers over here, personally attracting 10 agents so they can that have a frontline qualifying agent criteria to them so they can participate at this level. That's why you see that. Because the difference between $30, the difference between a $15,000 commission and on someone that you have 6, if you have 6 FLQAs versus 2 is huge. It's over $500. So that's why you see all of that. That's why you see all of the shenanigans. So that's why I want to make sure that you're fully aware of how the revenue share actually works. And these are all real numbers. This is EXP Realty Revenue Share. This is giving you the entire breakdown. Now, for you to see this a little bit different, just so you have an example, and this is basically saying the same thing, just presented in a table format. So if you have 0 to 4 agents, all of your tier 1 is going to be, let me rephrase that. This one is exponential. So when it comes to, let's just say you're 5 right here, when you have 5 agents, you're going to receive 3.8% if you have 5 frontline qualifying agents. This is your tier 2. So on your tier 3, you need 10. So it's either this or this. Same type, just a different presentation. So here you have the exponential share. Here you have the exponential share. And that's what this is meant to illustrate. So you need 10 in order to unlock this. And if you don't have 10 personals, then all of your tier 3 are going to receive 0.1%. So these are all different levels. These are all different levels. Let me go back. I don't like the table. I just wanted to share it with you. So if you want to screen capture it so you can understand it, I personally don't like the table. I would much rather have this. But same thing over here. Let's just say you have, at this point, you have agents all the way in your level 4, your tier 4, and you have 10 agents. You see that you don't meet the 15 minimum required here. So just on your level 4, you're going to receive 0.1%. But on your, since you have 10 agents, over here on all of your agents that are on tier 3, you're receiving 2.4%. So keep in mind, these are all individual silos. These are all individual tiers, levels that you're working with. So all of your personals, if you have 100 personals as an example, you're going to get this regardless. If you have 60 on your tier 2 and you have 10 personals, you're going to receive all of this right here. At least 10 well, let's just go back to the example. Let's say you have 10 personals. Well, your 10 personals, anything that they do is here. And let's just say on your second level, you had 5 people. On your second level, then since you already have more than needed here, you receive this. And let's just say on your tier 3, you had 4 people. Well, on your tier 3, since you have the minimum, you're going to receive this. But let's just say on your tier 4, you had 3 people. Well, since you did not have the 15 required there, then you're participating here. So you unlock this, you unlock this, you unlock this, but you did not unlock this. So that's how it breaks down. All right, so I hope that made sense right there. All right, so again, I don't necessarily like the table, but I understand that some of you would much rather see it this way, so I went ahead and provided this for you. Now, when it comes to maximum potential, just so you know, agents that come into the organization, remember, the revenue share program operates from the 20%, not from the 80%. So as I mentioned a few minutes ago, from the EXP model, a commission standpoint, you're 80-20 up until you cap, up until you sell 2.66 million in sales volume, which at that point means that you paid $16,000 into the brokerage. So that's where you hear it's a $16,000 cap, or what you don't hear oftentimes is, well, how much sales volume does that mean? It means 2.66 million in sales volume. So that's the big difference there. Now, as a reminder, the revenue share is operated from the 20%. Well, what happens when the 20% goes away? Because when an agent caps, they go to 100% commission. Well, when that goes away for that year, since every year it resets, that means for that year you have hit the ceiling. Every single agent that goes on the cap, this is a maximum earning potential for every single agent. So as they make sales through their first sales at EXP up until the cap, you're participating in revenue share. Beyond that, well, there's nothing to share revenue with because 100% goes to the agent. So this is where we get into the maximums. So any agent that you personally sponsor at EXP and they become a capper or a capping agent, on their tier 1, that's $2,800 max for you. That's $2,800. So that's a simple math. If you know of an agent in your previous office that is doing volume at a high level and you know that they're going to cap, well, effectively that's $2,800 if that agent selects you as a sponsor. So that's the earning potential, if you will, for every agent that you personally sponsor that goes on the cap. Now, if they don't meet that, then obviously it's going to be less than this. But the beauty of it is they do not have to be a capping agent in order for you to participate in revenue share. It's as the sales go. So whatever is closed on this month, next month, you're going to receive your revenue share. So as you saw on tier 2, the maximum earning for all of your level 2s is $3,200. So if you sponsor an agent that is a capper, that's $2,800 for you. Well, cappers hang out with other cappers, most of them do. So if they sponsor another agent that they go on to cap, well, for you, that's $3,200. So is this making sense? So that's the earning potential from your tier 2. Your tier 3, the highest is 2. The tier 4 is 1,200, 800. Then it starts increasing again in tier 6. And tier 7, you see, is actually the highest earning potential. But in order for you to reach all of your tier 7 and unlock the exponential share, so remember, exponential shares over here, and you can see the breakdown very evidently. This is where the percentages make sense, but I'm sharing it to you in numbers. Well, in order for you to unlock the exponential share right here, you need to personally have attracted and have frontline qualifying agents of 40. So 40 FLQAs, 40 frontline qualifying agents in order to unlock this. If you don't have that, then you're going to receive this on their sales. So again, that's why you have so many agents absolutely flooding your inbox, flooding it, because again, once people understand the power of this and understand what this can actually do for their business, in addition to commissions, in addition to the shares, you're seeing what's happened with the shares. It went up to $150, and then it did the 2-for-1 split. So this means that you got 2 stocks for the price of for having 1 stock, and now it's in the 70. I haven't checked this morning, but that's in addition to. So you have commissions as you always have been, helping buyers buy, helping sellers sell. Nobody's taking that away from you, which just happens to have a better split than most of the brokerages out there. And then you have the stock, which no brokerage out there is going to offer you. Well, with the exception of one, but that one is so, and I'm going to do a video on that one. That one is so heavily indebted that I don't foresee them making it in very long. But anyway, and then the revenue share, well, you see this, it's this powerful. So this is what you this is everything that you need to know about the revenue share. But I want you to consider this. If an agent leaves your organization, this is what you call it at EXP, your revenue share organization. If an agent leaves, that creates a gap, but there's no shifting. Let's just say an agent that you sponsor, you had one agent here, one agent here, one agent here, one agent here, one agent. Let's just say one agent in every single tier.
So one agent attract another agent, just for the sake of the example. And if your tier 3 agent leaves for whatever reason, whatever that may be, doesn't matter. If they leave, then this does not shift. It just stays. There's just a gap. That's just a gap. There's no shifting that happens. Your 7 does not become a 6. Your does not become a 5. That does not happen. It just becomes a gap. All right, so that's just something to be aware of. And then the revenue share is paid only on company dollar, uncapped GCI. So remember, it goes back to that 80-20 split. 20% goes to the company, and once the agent caps after having sold 2.66 million in sales volume, then there's no 20% anymore because that agent went to 100% commission. So the revenue share is only paid from the company dollar, not from the agent. So there's nothing to revenue share there. There's 7 levels of revenue share, as you have seen. The revenue share is willable. So this is something that this is a legacy that you get to pass on to your family. So all of this hard work is not just for when Jaime is here. This was actually one of the biggest reasons that I decided to do this rather than open up my own brokerage. So I decided to do this because when Jaime is no longer around, I can will it over. I used to be a business broker, which I help business owners sell their business. And I had a lot of experience with real estate brokerages and just how not much value they had because of the way that they were managed. So seeing the financials, the margins just weren't all that great anyway. And on top of that, whenever they turn around and sell it, you're not going to get much of a multiple off of seller's discretionary earnings. And I know I'm getting way too technical into this. This is more of my business brokerage background coming through. But all that to say is, this is why I decided to go down this route as opposed to open up a brokerage, because I either had the option of closing the brokerage whenever I died, or my family would have the option of doing that, or I could attempt to sell it before I died, and then get pennies on the dollar most of the time. And then, so it just was not, the pros did not outweigh the cons. So when I looked at this model and saw it for what it was, that's when I made the decision that very day. So it took me a while to get to this. It took me, I saw the opportunity for over a year, but it just was not presented in a way that made sense. But when it made sense, it was just something I made the switch immediately. And then revenue share, it's unlimited. Again, I'm not giving you any financial numbers, financial claims, if you will. It's just whatever you decide to make of it. If you decide to focus on agent attraction, great. If not, great. There's plenty of agents that never attract another agent or sponsor an agent or recruit another agent into EXP, and that's fine. They're comfortable with the revenue. They're comfortable with the commission split, which is already high, and they're comfortable from a stock perspective because you earn stock, again, 5 different ways. And then numbers do not represent commission income or shares in equity. So this is something I was just sharing, that this does not mean that these are shares. This does not mean that this is in lieu of your commission. This is on top of that. So I want to make sure that you are aware that who you join matters. So I'm going to leave something in the description down below for you to check out. It's how we partner together, all the benefits that you're going to get with partnering with me, and I actually help you with your revenue share building in addition to do your lead generation for free. There's so many different benefits that I continue adding. So we have virtual assistants, we have social media, posts and everything that you could possibly need for buyers and sellers. We have videos for you to actually get started with YouTube. We have the lead generation system that not only do you get my courses, but you also get my agency doing your lead generation for you. You get me personally helping you with your revenue share building if that's a route that you want to go. We have weekly masterminds, and I bring in some top, and I mean top professionals in the space. So just to give you some examples, I have had a former #1 KW agent. I hate to say it, but I was gonna not say any brokerages out there, but a former #1 Keller Williams agent in the world present. And the next week, actually, I'm gonna have another former #1 Keller Williams agent in the world, present just to my team. So these are all they're all personal acquaintances that are actually presenting to my team, specifically my revenue share organization. So nobody outside of us has access to this. So if you want to be part of that, and if you'd like to, sit in on it, just let me know, and just send me a message. But outside of that, if you have any questions, please feel free to hit me up in the DMs. But also check out the link down below on how we can partner and how I can help you with your business. Have a good one. Bye.